welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. I am Summer, a homeschooling mama to one little, and we are currently in our third year of homeschooling. On this channel, you'll find videos about books that we love as a family or books that I just love as a person, homeschool encouragement, and resources that are inclusive and affordable that we like to use and we want to share. So stick around. It's been a hot minute since your girl's been in front of the camera, but she's still alive. Today, we're going to do something a little bit different, and it's going to be about curriculum. So right now, a lot of homeschooling Ohanas are in the thick of picking up curriculum for the next year, for the 2023-2024 school year. Right, and you might be saying, hello, we didn't even close out the 2022-2023 year. However, it's never too early to do your research. You'll probably see a lot more videos, a lot more posts on your social media feeds about curriculum, the type of curriculums to pick, or tips and tricks from other social media homeschoolers that they have across the internet. So I, on the other hand, today will be just sharing you my top 2 tips on how I pick curriculum when it comes to homeschooling. All right, so my very first tip that I'm going to share with you when choosing curriculum is the most important tip, in my opinion. De-school or not de-school your kids, whether you're going to take a Charlotte Mason approach, an unschooling approach, for me, this first tip trumps all of that. And it is find out what your state requires. Let me say it louder for the ones in the back. To find out what your state requires when it comes to homeschooling. Require you to take attendance? If they do, is it by days or hours? Do they require you to record keep? Do they require you to standardized tests for your children at the end of the school year? Do they require you to do a withdrawal notice or a letter of intent to homeschool? So that is the first step, I believe, in my opinion, that you need to do before you even start to homeschool. My second tip for choosing curriculum would be to do what is best for your Ohana. And I've said it, do what is best for your Ohana. Like I said, there are a ton of YouTube videos, a ton of posts on Instagram of families telling you what worked for them, what didn't work for them, why they chose this, why they didn't choose that. Every homeschooling family is different. And I don't want you to think that you need to buy into the fad of the latest and the greatest, or because this YouTuber that I follow, like this works for her kids, so it'll work for my kids, so I need to get it. Another thing too is to consider budget. Like if you only have $500 to spend on your whole school year, are you going to spend $400 on one all-in-one box curriculum and only have $100 for the for field trips or memberships throughout the whole school year? And that's fine if you do it that way. But for another person who has $500 as a budget, they might be thinking, maybe I'll just spend $200 on curriculum and all of the manipulatives and all the other things that I need for our curriculum, and I'm going to spend $300 on experiences with my kids. So I'll use that $300 to sign them up for a class that they get to go to for 2 hours once a week to learn STEM. I'm going to use another $100 of my budget to pay for a membership to a museum, that we can often go to learn there. So you got to consider your finances and your budget as well when you pick curriculum, because not everyone's budget is going to look the same, and not everyone's priorities on how they want to spend that budget will be the same, right? Another thing too is you might have MAC curriculum that will require you to set up all the manipulatives and the lessons for 20 minutes before you actually start teaching your child that lesson. Is that something that you want to do? Or do you want something where you can open and go? Entries, are they more of an auditory or visual learner, right? If they are, instead of using a workbook, you will teach using maybe YouTube, using more documentaries, maybe using movies, maybe using apps, online games, right? Because they're more auditory and visual learners, right? Do you have a kinetic learner? Do you have a child who loves structure, so therefore they do go the traditional route, which is a workbook and lesson plans? Now, are you a parent who works from home, but you also homeschool your kids? You know what I mean? Would you be able to set them up on the laptop for more independent learning while you worked? And if so, how much would you have to spend for that, program, right? So that's what I mean by doing what is best for you and your family. Everyone can tell you what they liked about something or didn't like about something, or what worked, what didn't work, or what they recommend. But at the end of the day, it's what works for you and your family. And you have to be realistic about it. Those are my top 2 tips when choosing homeschool curriculum. One is to find out what your state requires you to teach and all the regulations and laws on that. And the second is to do what is best for your child. Do what is best for your family. Do what is best for you. Those are my top 2 tips for choosing homeschool curriculum. And if you like videos like this, go ahead and hit subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you and your time. Aloha, ahui ho, until we meet again.